Our today's class topics is GitHub Webhook integration with Jenkins. First, I will give you the overview of the documentation. Then I will explain the documentation, and then I will show you the hands-on demo. Before I start the video, just a quick reminder: if you haven't subscribed the channel, subscribe the channel, because after complete the 60-day course, then I will create cloud and DevOps related video which will help your professional career. So don't forget to subscribe the channel. So now let's start today's class. So hands-on demo steps, we need to GitHub Web integration in Jenkins. This is the topics of our today's class. So it's totally hands-on demo. So first we'll do some prerequisites, then we need to follow some steps. So step one is we need to install some plugins in Jenkins to run the demo. Then we'll create a Jenkins job, and all steps are available here. When I show the demo, I will explain those things. Then we'll create a GitHub Webhook. Then here is I put an optional. If you don't have any option to use your Jenkins in a public IP, then you can use ngrok. You can use this application to make your Jenkins accessible publicly. Those steps are here. Then we can test the webhook. Then here I put some troubleshooting tips when we face some problem to do the demo. Those troubleshooting tips are below. So now let's start today's class. So first we will explain what is webhook. It is a webhook. So let me show Jenkins dashboard. Then you can basically understand what is the webhook basically. So if I click any project, like it's a Java code project, then for running the pipeline you need to click the build now button. So basically this is the manual process. So as we know, DevOps is completely automation process, so everything should be run automatically. So we don't want to click this build now button and run the pipeline. So this thing need to be done by automatically. So this is the reason we are using webhook. So in Jenkins webhook, it will make your pipeline automated. And there is another thing also, which is pool ACM. I will also show you, and I will show the difference and between GitHub Webhook and pool ACM, and also show you the pros and cons of both. So basically we have some prerequisite to run the demo. So first you need to be installed in Jenkins. It would be like a local or server, anything. Then you need to a GitHub account, and in this GitHub you need to be a repository, and you need to be install some plugins, Git and GitHub plugins. And we need to make the Jenkins accessible publicly. So when you're using basically Jenkins in a local PC, it is not accessible publicly. So we can we know basically for accessible publicly, we need a public IP or any like a domain name which can be accessible publicly. So we can do these things by a software. I will show the thing also. So for step one, we need to do some installation in our Jenkins site, and second we need to do some installation in our GitHub repo site. Okay, so in Jenkins site we need to create a pipeline, and we need to make sure we have already installed these plugins, Git plugins, GitHub plugins, and GitHub integration, and we already have a GitHub repo where is Jenkins file and just readme file. So we already know if there is no Jenkins file, then your pipeline will be not running. So all instruction is available in the Jenkins pipeline. That way basically Jenkins pipeline will act. And we also add the readme file. So I do some changes in the readme file, then it will be triggered. That's why I add the readme file also. So this repo we already created in our last class. We use that repo. So now we need to create the pipeline. Then we need to create the GitHub Webhook in GitHub repository. So first let me create the Jenkins pipeline and enable the GitHub trigger. All steps basically you can find from the documentation. So let me show the demo first. So for create a pipeline, go to the dashboard, just create a new item, give any name. So put the GitHub Webhook name. Then we need to select pipeline. We need to click OK. So now we need to scroll down, and you can see for enable the webhook, you need to check this box, GitHub Webhook trigger from GITSCM pooling. Okay. This way it will be enable GitHub Webhook. So from Jenkins pipeline section, we need to enable this one, and we need to configure the Git repo. So you already know this, so we need to put the GitHub repo. So let me go to the GitHub repo. So in our last class we used this repository. So the same GitHub Jenkins file, HTTP file. Just copy this repo address and paste it here. So this is public, so we don't need any credential. So this is main branch, we already know, and Jenkins file. So apply and save. Okay, so next step is we need to set up the webhook in GitHub account. So for that purpose, we need to go to the GitHub account settings, webhook, and we need to add your URL in the webhook and do some settings like application JSON, and you need to check just push or pull or all event. Then if everything is okay, it will show the active. So if your IP is not enabled in the if you are using basically public IP or private IP, then you are not able to use webhook. So for that purpose, you can make your private IP publicly accessible by using ngrok. So ngrok is like free service. Just go to the ngrok website and you create an account, then you get a token. Then for installing in your local PC, just run this command, get, then tar this file, unzip this file, then remove the tar file, then copy this ngrok file to the user bin folder. Then if you run ngrok, then it will show ngrok command. Then for running the ngrok, you need to run ngrok authentication token. Then you type your token, then just run the ngrok http, and which port you are running your Jenkins, make sure you put this port here. So in my case, I am using 8080 port, that's why I put 8080. Okay, so let me show you how we can create a ngrok account and where you get these things. Let me open. So this is ngrok website. After you can see the free sign up button. So after you put your email ID, username, password, then you can get this access after login. Then you can see the setup installation process, where you can see how can you install Windows and how can you install by Linux. So all steps will be here, but I found that step is perfect for installing in Linux PC. So I just add those command in my documentation. So you need to go your auth token. So if you scroll up, then here you get the auth token. Just you need to copy this one and paste in the documentation. Where you see this. So for add your ngrok in your local PC, just you need to use this ngrok auth token, then paste your auth token, then you just run this command to get a publicly accessible ID. So go to my control panel. So here already I ran from my previous video. So just run the ngrok http 8080, enter, and it will give a URL where you can access that one. So let me copy that one. So if you run this http, basically it will already give http, enter. So you need to click visit a site, then you can type your username. See, as same interface you're getting, but now we are able to access the IP by outside of the world. So this is URL is accessible from anywhere in the world. Okay, so let me go to documentation. So this way you can basically get the URL. Now we need to install Webhook in GitHub. So for that purpose we need to go GitHub repo settings, then Webhook. Let me go there. So this is our GitHub repo. Basically in settings there is two options for settings. If you go these settings, we are not want to go this setting because this setting is for entire GitHub repo. We don't use this. We are going to use these settings which is for this repo only. This settings is working only this repo. So we need to go these settings. Okay, click settings. So you can see the Webhook. Click Webhook, then add Webhook. Then you need to put that URL here, and you need to choose application session, and rest of the thing keep it same. That if you use just push, if you send everything, then you choose everything, or if you like do any individually like customized event, you can use that one. So we are just use simple one, just push event. So when any push happen in GitHub account, Jenkins will trigger and build the pipeline. So I need to put the like IP is here, I think already. Yeah, IP is already copied before. So now we need to use the GitHub/Webhook. So you can see the documentation. You can see this line you need to add GitHub/Webhook. So make sure spelling is perfect. So if I click add Webhook, now here should be right arrow. So if it's not coming, just click the Webhook. So everything is fine. Then you can see the arrow mark is there. That means our Webhook trigger is working perfectly. Okay, so minimize that one. So let's show you one thing. So this is basically our repository. Like if we change anything, the trigger will be happen, but we want to make it a little bit realistic. So I already cloned this code in my local PC. Just take the URL and go to your local PC, go to terminal and just git clone. You can get the clone, but I already clone it here in my local PC. So if you see the Jenkins file, you can see that file. Okay, so now if I make any change, the trigger will be happen automatically. So go to the pipeline. So this is a local pipeline. You can see nothing is there. So let me like change anything in the readme file. So echo hhh. So git add you can see right away it will be triggered. You can see trigger is happening, and you can see it's happening right away. So let's pull this in, and you can see our code is successfully working. Okay, so this way basically any changes happen in GitHub, it will trigger. So if you want to make any change again, so make it again echo you can see is trigger right away. So basically Git Webhook trigger happen right away, and normally we are using in real time. So another way we can use like this thing, but there is some limitation and some difference between these two. Let me show you. So if I go to configure, now if I uncheck that one, then this trigger option will disable and it will not trigger. Now if I put save and make any change, so you can see now there is no trigger will be happen. Let me wait for 2 seconds and make sure it will be not triggered, but I want to show you. That's why I did this thing. So you can see no trigger will be happen because I uncheck that one. So now go to the configure again. Now there is another option is pool ACM. So pool ACM is like something that Jenkins will check, like it's like time interval. If you make it 5 minutes or if you check it 1 minute, so every 1 minute it will check the Git repository. So that checking interval time, it will basically get some delay. So I will show you the difference between WebGit and pool ACM in one documentation I have here. So for adding pool ACM, you need to pull start. So now if I click anywhere, you can see, do you really mean every minute when you say? That means when I use start, every minute Jenkins will check the GitHub, is there any changing happen? So if he find any change, then Jenkins will pull the trigger. So it will have some delay. It will not trigger right away because it has a time interval. So basically this is the basic difference between pool ACM and Webhook. But there is some advantage in GitHub Webhook and there is some advantage of pool ACM. I will show that thing. So now let me show the example now. So now I apply and save. So like if it will check if any change happen, it will trigger because we already did one change. So after 1 minute it will be triggered. So now let me change anything again. So echo you can see it trigger because after 1 minute it found some changes, but it will take at least 1 minute. So git push. So now it will wait for at least 1 minute. You can see it's no trigger is happening. So for pool ACM we have some time duration for waiting at least 1 minute basically. So let's wait for a few seconds. So that's why basically pool ACM is not using real time. You can see now it's trigger, it's showing now. So basically it will take some time. So in the real world project, normally we are not using the pool ACM. Okay, so now you can see the code build is run. So these are basically if we make any change, so like a pool ACM will check after 1 minute. If any change happen, then it will get the trigger. If no change happen, then it will not make any build. So I have a documentation in my GitHub URL, so where I mention what is difference between GitHub Webhook and SCM. So they look like similar because both are end up basically triggering your Jenkins job. So both are basically doing triggering work. So what is the advantage or disadvantage, or what is the option available in GitHub? Let me explain. So it's push based trigger. So anything push happen in Git activity, it will trigger. So Jenkins whenever happen push or pull, and I already told you when I create the webhook, there is also option is pull event. So if anyone pull the Git repo, then also we can trigger it. So there is option like push and pull, both way we can make trigger Jenkins pipeline. But pool ACM, this option is not available. In pool ACM only it happen when any change happen in Git repository. That means only push event possible in the pool ACM. Jenkins instantly react because GitHub inform in real time. So we already see it is much quicker than pool ACM. So basically it right away inform Jenkins, basically GitHub right away inform Jenkins that some change happening, you make the build right now. So compared to PoolSM is much faster than PoolSM. So no delay, because right away it will be happen. So requirement is what? Jenkins to be publicly accessible. Must be Jenkins is publicly accessible. Otherwise, GitHub Webhook is not working. But PoolSM is working with private IP also. So Webhook configure in GitHub repository. Then Webhook must be configured in GitHub repository. Whereas PoolSM, we can just select the checkbox and it will working. So there is some like working happening in Webhook, but PoolSM is more easier than Webhook. So efficient, Jenkins does not nothing until told. Jenkins will nothing until GitHub told Jenkins to do the pipeline. Best for basically real time and saving Jenkins resource because basically like PoolSM is continuously checking process. Like if I make it 1 minute, so every 1 minute it will check the resource, even though there is no changes happening, but PoolSM will check the resource. So like if 1 hour, if nothing, no changes happening, but PoolSM will continuously checking one by one after 1 minute. So in 60 minutes it will check 60 times. So the resource will be using more. So that is the disadvantage of basically PoolSM. So here is also some properties of the PoolSM. So pool based trigger, Jenkins periodically checks the Git repository to see if the change occur. You can set a schedule. So we already told we can make it 5 minutes, 1 hour, or anything time schedule we can set in the PoolSM. So if something need to this way, then we can use PoolSM. Jenkins will not know immediately, it only see changes during the time period pool. So we already know every time interval it will check. So then if any change is happening, then Jenkins will trigger the pipeline. Can cause unnecessary checks if no changes occur. So I already told this thing, every time interval it will be checked. So even though we don't need to check the resources, but it will do the checking. No need to make Jenkins public. So we already told you can use public and private both way. So there is no mandatory requirement for publicly accessible IP or publicly accessible URL. Best for environment where incoming webhook are not possible. So if any server there is no incoming webhook possible, then we can also use the PoolSM option. Okay, so there is a table I make. So trigger type real time. In GitHub is right away it's happening, so it's real time. It's not real time. You need to wait for a few minutes at least. So resource type is uses low because it will not take check the GitHub every minute. So its resource will be using low, but here resource will be using higher. Jenkins accessibility must be publicly accessible, can be used for private. Set complexity is medium, it's easy, just need to check the checkbox. Best for a fast CI/CD pipeline, is for offline private Jenkins setups. These are you can basically using PoolSM. So basically this is the difference between PoolSM and Webhook. So this video is very important for us because we need to make the concept clear and we need to make the automation for running the DevOps project. So I already noted down all steps here. So over step is just adding some command there to change the readme file. So if we edit any readme file, then it will be triggered the code. So for troubleshooting, sometimes if not for Jenkins must be publicly accessible. So if it's not accessible, then you can use ngrok, webhook log, or in GitHub show delivery status and ensure GitHub repo is linked correctly and Jenkins credential are also valid. So make sure where we use the credential and everything is working properly. Otherwise, if webhook link is not working, then basically it will not working. So you can see the webhook. So we need to make sure this make it right sign. So if everything is perfect, then the Jenkins and webhook tie up, then it will be working. Otherwise it will not be working. So after you've done, if you can delete the webhook from here. If you click delete, then webhook will be deleted. And in the PoolSM, make sure you uncheck that one, because now if any changes happening in that repository, it will trigger, and also Jenkins will check after 1 minute the GitHub repository. So your resource will be using, so it will make your computer slow. So go to the configure and make the pool SMA unchecked. Now apply and save. So basically that's all for today's video. So if you found this video is helpful, please subscribe and like the video. In the next video I will discuss regarding any topics of Jenkins. So up to that time, best of luck.